Every life has a direction, even when it feels completely lost. There is a movement inside that quietly pulls towards certain experiences, certain people, certain ways of living. It does not shout. It does not argue. It simply keeps returning again and again, in the form of deep interests, recurring dreams, gentle longings, and a quiet sense that there is something I am meant to live that I have not fully stepped into yet. This is what many call soul purpose, not as a rigid destiny written somewhere outside, but as an inner orientation that, when followed, creates a feeling of alignment, meaning, and inner peace that no external achievement can replace. The confusion begins when soul purpose is confused with a job title, a specific career, or one grand mission that must be discovered once and for all. This belief creates pressure. People start searching for the one thing they are supposed to do, afraid of choosing wrong, afraid of wasting time. But soul purpose is less like a job description and more like an inner compass. A compass does not tell which exact road to walk. It tells a direction. Many roads can honor that direction. In the same way, soul purpose is not only about what is done, but about the quality of energy carried into everything that is done. Imagine someone who feels deeply alive when creating understanding between people, when translating complex emotions into words, when bringing clarity to confusion. The surface form of that purpose could be therapy, writing, teaching, mediating, even making films. But underneath all of those possibilities is the same direction, turning confusion into understanding. This inner direction is the soul's preference. When life is aligned with that preference, even simple moments feel meaningful. When life moves against it, even impressive achievements feel strangely empty. Soul purpose often shows itself early, but in subtle ways. As a child, there may have been activities that felt timeless. Hours would pass, and it did not feel like effort. It felt like being fully oneself. Maybe it was drawing, listening to others, building things, exploring nature, organizing, leading, caring for animals, inventing games, questioning rules, or sitting quietly in imagination. These early signals were not hobbies only for entertainment. They were early expressions of the soul's natural direction. Over time, life experiences, expectations, and fears may have covered these signals with layers of should and must, but the original direction does not disappear. It waits. There is a helpful distinction between outer path and inner purpose. The outer path is the changing form: jobs, roles, projects, places, relationships. The inner purpose is the stable current underneath those changes. Someone might work in different countries, study different subjects, change careers many times. On the surface, it looks fragmented, but when looking deeper, there may be a consistent pattern, always supporting others, always creating beauty, always solving problems, always protecting, always exploring, always healing. That pattern reveals the inner purpose. When confusion arises about direction, it is often because the focus is only on the outer path, like trying to choose the right wave without understanding the tide. Inner direction expresses itself through feeling more than through thought. It is sensed in the body as relief when something is right, as heaviness when something is wrong, as a quiet sense of this fits or this does not fit, even when the mind has a list of logical reasons to stay. Many people override this inner direction because it is subtle and cannot always be justified with immediate evidence. The nervous system may be used to surviving by pleasing others, by being sensible, by avoiding risk. Soul purpose, however, is not interested in what maintains numbness. It is interested in what brings the being fully alive. Sometimes that aliveness requires changing things that have been comfortable on the surface. Inner direction is not always comfortable. Sometimes it points away from what is familiar and toward what is unknown. It may ask for leaving roles that no longer fit, even if they bring approval. It may ask for setting boundaries, even if that creates conflict. It may ask for starting something small and humble, even after years of building prestige in a different area. This is where fear and resistance arise. The mind says, "Who am I to do this?" Or "It is too late," or "What if I fail?" Soul purpose does not argue with these thoughts. It simply keeps whispering. It returns as the idea that will not go away, as the dream that keeps reappearing, as the restlessness that shows up when ignoring inner truth for too long. Sometimes soul purpose is revealed through the very things that cause the most pain. Many people feel drawn to heal, guide, or support others through struggles that mirror their own history. Someone who grew up feeling unseen may feel called to see others deeply. Someone who experienced chaos may feel called to create spaces of stability and safety. Someone who carried shame may feel called to help others release shame. This does not mean that suffering is required to have purpose. It means that whatever has been survived and integrated can become part of the medicine carried in this life. The wounds, once tended, often point directly to the direction of service. There is a simple way to listen for soul purpose without turning it into an intellectual puzzle. It begins with honest questions, asked not to the mind, but to the deeper self. Questions like, in which moments does life feel most meaningful? Which activities make a deep sense of rightness arise, even if they are small? What kinds of problems do people naturally come for help with? When does time feel different, more spacious, more timeless? When these questions are held gently, not forced, memories and feelings begin to surface. Patterns become visible. Inner direction also appears in what irritates or frustrates most in the world. Sometimes the strongest annoyances are inversions of purpose. Someone who cannot stand injustice may carry a strong purpose related to fairness or protection. Someone who is deeply bothered by superficiality may carry a purpose related to depth and authenticity. The thing that is most painful to watch may be linked to what the soul came to influence, heal, or transform, even if only in small, local ways. Purpose does not need to be famous to be real. A soul living its purpose in a quiet life has the same depth as a soul living it on a stage. There is a common fear. What if the purpose is missed? This fear assumes purpose is a single door that can be walked past forever. Inner direction, however, is more faithful than that. It adjusts. If one expression is not taken, another opportunity appears. Different paths lead back to similar lessons, similar themes, similar invitations. Even detours can become part of purpose. Years spent in what seemed like the wrong place can build skills, resilience, empathy, and clarity that will later be used when a more aligned direction is chosen. Life is far more fluid than the mind's fear suggests. Soul purpose is not only about what is given to the world. It is also about what is learned here. There are inner qualities that the soul seems to be especially interested in developing: courage, compassion, presence, truth, forgiveness, creativity, trust. Certain life paths are chosen because they create conditions where those qualities need to be grown. In this sense, even challenges that do not make sense on the surface can make sense at the level of soul development. Inner direction is not only guiding toward what can be done, but toward who can be become through each experience. To connect more clearly with inner direction, slowing down becomes important. A life filled with constant noise, notifications, distractions, constant comparison, makes it difficult to hear the subtle guiding signals. Even a few minutes of sitting quietly, breathing, and simply noticing what the heart, chest, and gut feel like can begin to clear space. In that space, images, words, or sensations may arise. Perhaps a picture of a place, a memory of an activity, a sudden sense of longing. These are clues. Soul purpose rarely appears as a complete map. It appears as the next true step. A practical way to work with direction is to ask one focused question. What is the next aligned step? Not the entire plan. The mind wants entire plans. The soul works with steps. The next step might be as simple as reading about something that brings curiosity, talking to someone already living in a way that inspires, starting a small project as an experiment, or setting one boundary that honors truth. Each step taken in alignment sends a signal. This direction is being chosen. Life responds with feedback. Sometimes that feedback is ease and expansion. Sometimes it is challenge designed to strengthen commitment. Both are part of the path. Inner direction also requires distinguishing between fear that protects and fear that blocks. When moving closer to soul purpose, fear often rises. It is the nervous system saying, "This is new and therefore unknown." Not every fear means stop. Some fears simply mean go slowly, with care. If every impulse to grow is interpreted as danger, the path stays small. Courage in this context is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to walk with a trembling body toward what feels deeply true. Soul purpose honors the nervous system's limits, but also gently stretches them. There is a quiet humility in living from soul purpose. It does not need to constantly announce itself. It does not need to prove its importance. It simply expresses itself day by day, moment by moment, in how people are treated, in how work is done, in how inner life is tended. Someone living their purpose can be washing dishes, writing emails, playing with a child, or sitting in a meeting, and the purpose is still active. It lives in the quality of presence, in the intention behind the action. Direction is not something used only in big decisions. It is woven into small ones. For those who feel completely lost, it can help to shift from asking, "What is my purpose?" to asking, "Where do I feel most truthful?" Truth is often the doorway. When spending time on things that feel false, forced, or draining at the deepest level, the sense of direction fades. When spending time, even in small doses, on things that feel honest and real, the sense of direction strengthens. Following what feels truthful in this way is like following a faint path in a forest. It becomes clearer with each step taken. There is also an element of trust. Inner direction does not always justify itself in advance. It may ask for a change without presenting a full explanation. Later, looking back, the pattern becomes clear. The people met, the skills learned, the inner shifts, things that would not have happened without that earlier decision. Trust does not mean ignoring reality or practical needs. It means making room for inner knowing to have a say, alongside logic, not beneath it. Logic can calculate. Inner direction can sense. A life guided by both is more balanced than a life guided by logic alone. Soul purpose and inner direction are not rewards given to a selected few. They are built-in features of being alive. Every being carries a unique configuration of sensitivities, interests, strengths, and wounds that, when honored and integrated, form a path that no one else can walk in exactly the same way. Comparison becomes less useful here. The question is not, is this purpose as impressive as someone else's? The question is, does this feel true, alive, and quietly right in this heart? True purpose is often quieter than ego wants, but deeper than ego can imagine. At the end of the day, soul purpose is less about what is achieved and more about whether inner truth has been honored. Did life move closer to or further from the inner compass? Were the whispers ignored or followed? Was fear the only voice allowed to decide, or did courage and curiosity have space as well? These are the questions that tend to matter when looking back. Outer details may change many times. Inner direction remains the thread connecting them. If these reflections on soul purpose and inner direction bring a sense of recognition or relief, this is an invitation to continue exploring this territory more deeply. For more content on inner clarity, emotional healing, spiritual psychology, and living a life that feels aligned from the inside out, subscribing to this channel keeps these conversations close. Liking this video helps this kind of message reach others who feel lost or disconnected from their deeper path. Sharing it with someone who is questioning their direction might offer the language and perspective they have been missing. And if one small hint of inner direction became visible while listening, a memory, an activity, a feeling, naming it in the comments can be the first gentle step in honoring the quiet purpose that has been there all along.